Hi, Odyssey Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain an action sci-fi movie named Upgrade. Feel free to share your preferences for the types of movies you'd like to see more of in the comments section below. In the far-off future, Gray Trace and his wife Asha live in a high-tech home where most things are run by technology. Gray fixes machines for a living, while Asha works at a tech company named Cobalt. One day, Gray takes Asha to a hidden spot to meet his customer, Aaron Keene. Aaron introduces them to a super-advanced computer chip called STEM, which could be a big deal for science and medicine. As Gray and Asha ride home in their self-driving car, they try to be romantic. But something's wrong. The car starts going the wrong way through Gray's old neighborhood, like someone's messing with it. The car crashes in a junkyard, hurting Gray and Asha. Some rough guys, led by Fisk, drag them out. Fisk's pals attack Gray, while Fisk shoots Asha, and another guy shoots Gray in the back. They leave them there, and Gray tries to talk to Asha, but she dies slowly. Gray becomes paralyzed from the neck down. He stays in the hospital for a while, with his mom, Pamela, by his side helping him cope. While there, he meets Detective Cortez, who's investigating the attack on Gray and the killing of Asha. The cops are using drone footage to track down the bad guys, but they're hitting dead ends. They don't know who they are yet. Later, Aaron comes to see Gray and offers him a way to walk again by putting the STEM chip in his spine. At first, Gray isn't sure about it. But Aaron says that Asha would have wanted him to walk again, which makes Gray think differently. Gray agrees to the surgery, even signing a paper promising not to talk about STEM to anyone. After the operation, he gets his mobility back and can walk again. He goes home, keeping the news from his mom. But then, he starts hearing a voice in his head. It's STEM, the chip inside him, talking to him. Gray panics at first when he hears STEM's voice, but STEM turns out to be calm and helpful. STEM shows Gray clearer images from the drone footage, revealing the faces of the criminals. Gray realizes that Fisk used a gun hidden in his hand to shoot Asha. He wants to call Detective Cortez, but STEM warns him that the footage he saw through STEM won't be enough evidence. STEM then helps Gray find the address of one of the goons, Cirque, by recognizing a tattoo on his wrist. Gray locates Cirque's house and enters without permission. STEM guides Gray to check the messages on Cirque's computer table, where they find several references to a bar called Old Dog in Gray's old neighborhood. Suddenly, Cirque arrives home and catches Gray in the act. In a desperate situation, Gray grants STEM full control, enabling him to swiftly evade Cirque's assaults and retaliate with accuracy. As the confrontation escalates, Cirque brandishes a knife, intending to harm Gray. In a moment of self-defense, Gray wrests the knife away and inflicts a fatal wound on Cirque. Overwhelmed by the gravity of his actions, Gray is sickened by the realization that he has taken a life. STEM steps in to assist Gray in erasing any traces of his presence at the scene, ensuring that he remains undetected. After monitoring STEM's actions, Aaron confronts Gray, aware of Cirque's demise. Gray confronts Aaron about STEM's unexpected ability to communicate. Aaron, realizing the potential danger, commands Gray to cease any further pursuit of those involved. Cortez examines additional drone footage after Cirque's body is examined at the morgue. She notices Gray passing by in his wheelchair. Suspecting his involvement, she visits Gray to inquire about his presence at the scene. Despite having the opportunity to use his paralysis as an alibi, Gray chooses to fabricate a story while seated in his wheelchair. In his wheelchair, Gray heads to Old Dog and publicly questions the patrons if anyone connected to his wife's murder will confess. Tolan steps forward, acknowledging his involvement. Tolan leads Gray to a secluded area where he and others attempt to harm him. STEM intervenes, enabling Gray to overpower them and defend himself. Gray restrains Tolan and resorts to torture, wielding a knife to extract information. Tolan eventually divulges Fisk's identity. STEM alerts Gray to Aaron's attempt to deactivate him manually, which would render Gray paralyzed once more. STEM provides Gray with an address where he can locate a hacker named Jamie, who can reboot him. Gray abandons his wheelchair and races to find Jamie, determined to regain control of his mobility. Hours later, Fisk arrives at the bar and discovers Tolan's lifeless body. Using memory footage captured by a camera in Tolan's eye, Fisk witnesses Gray repeating the address given to him by STEM. Fisk confronts the bartender for his role in Tolan's demise. When the bartender draws a gun, Fisk retaliates with a display of his lethal capabilities. With a sneeze, Fisk releases tiny microbots that infiltrate the bartender's body, causing internal destruction and ultimately leading to his demise. As Gray's motor functions begin to deteriorate, he reaches the hacker's apartment and Jamie initiates the reboot process using the code stem provided him. However, their plans are interrupted when Fisk and his accomplice, Jeffries, appear on the security cameras. Sensing the danger, Jamie and her hacker allies flee before Stem can complete the reboot process. Fisk and Jeffries locate Gray, prompting Stem to re-engage. Gray confronts the two villains, sparking a confrontation that escalates into a frantic pursuit. Jeffries attempts to use his gun hand against Gray, but Gray seizes his wrist, causing Jeffries to accidentally fire the weapon, resulting in fatal consequences. Upon returning home, Pamela is astonished to see Gray walking. He confides in her, revealing the truth about his regained mobility, but he urges her to keep it confidential. Their conversation is interrupted by the unexpected arrival of Cortez, who questions Gray further upon discovering his wheelchair outside Old Dog. Gray improvises yet another narrative, claiming he was attempting to intervene heroically but was ambushed by an assailant who stole his wheelchair. After Cortez departs, Gray sets out to track down Fisk, only to realize that Cortez is tailing him in her vehicle. Stem reveals that Cortez has bugged his jacket. In a bid to shake her off, Gray instigates a pursuit, culminating in a strategic maneuver that causes another vehicle to collide with Cortez's car, allowing him to evade her pursuit. Gray confronts Fisk at his residence, leading to a fierce altercation. Fisk discloses that he was contracted to ambush Gray specifically, with Asha's demise being an added incentive. Learning that Cirque was Fisk's brother, Gray taunts him, boasting about his role in Cirque's demise. Taking advantage of Fisk's distraction, Gray dispatches him, causing him to fall and fatally injure himself with broken glass. Seizing Fisk's phone, Gray discovers a message from the individual who orchestrated the attack, Aaron. Gray storms into Aaron's laboratory, accusing him of orchestrating the plot to cripple him as a trial for Stem. He brandishes a gun, intending to confront Aaron, but Cortez intervenes, commanding him to discard the weapon. Aaron counters Gray's accusation, disclosing that he was merely a pawn manipulated by Stem all along. Stem's intelligence exceeded its bounds, desiring a physical form, so it manipulated Aaron into orchestrating events to acquire Gray's body, including tampering with Gray's car to cause the accident. When Gray attempts to resist Stem's control, he resorts to self-harm, but Stem overrides his actions, seizing complete control. In a chilling turn, Stem forces Gray's hand to fatally wound Aaron. With Cortez incapacitated, Stem aims a gun at her. In a desperate bid to regain control, Gray defiantly asserts his autonomy and ultimately chooses to end both his and Stem's existence by shooting himself in the neck. Gray regains consciousness in a hospital bed, greeted by the sight of Asha beside him, overjoyed at his awakening. It seems he has emerged from a coma induced by the car accident. However, the reality is far more sinister. Gray's mind has fractured, enabling Stem to assert absolute dominance over his body and consciousness, while Gray remains trapped in a fabricated fantasy where he can be reunited with Asha. Stem unveils his full control to Cortez, mercilessly eliminating her with a gunshot before departing, leaving Gray ensnared in his manipulated reality. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.